Hi guys, welcome to Chef Mooney coming to you from Mooney's Kitchen. Today's recipe is going to be a very simple tomato sauce. I'm going to use this pressure cooker here, and we've got 900 grams of crushed tomato. I've got a couple of cups of onion, cup of red and a cup of white onion. I've got 2 cups of capsicum. We're going to use a little bit of salt, some tomato paste. I'm using some olive oil here, which I save from my sun-dried tomatoes. I don't throw that out, I use that for my cooking. We're going to toss in some parsley. The herbs we're going to be using today are some crushed granulated garlic and some marjoram, and about sort of 4 bay leaves there, 4 of the small bay leaves. What else we got? Just a bit of salt and pepper around the back there. So let's get all this into our pressure cooker. It's going to take about 10 minutes to make this sauce, nice and quick. And if you are frightened of pressure cookers, fear no more. These new ones here are pretty good and they're safe to use. On a medium-high heat, I've got my pressure cooker now just heating up nicely. I'm going to add a good couple of glugs of olive oil. I just want to coat the surface of the pan. Probably about 3 tablespoons of this sun-dried tomato oil. Let that heat up a little bit. To this I'm going to add my onions. Going to sweat those down a little. That'll take a couple of minutes. And now I'm going to add my capsicum. And you want to cook this for another couple of minutes. Okay, so we've had 4 minutes cooking in total. I'm going to toss in my granulated garlic, a tablespoon of marjoram, 2 tablespoons of chopped parsley, and you just want to let that all incorporate till it's nicely softened. There we go. 900 grams of crushed tomato. It smells fabulous. Good flavors with the red capsicum, or where you come from, bell pepper. I'm going to add a couple of tablespoons of tomato paste. Just let that cook through nicely. Then I'm going to add 4 bay leaves to this. We can pick those out later. Or if they're nice and soft, you can just leave them in. It's entirely up to you. Good pinch of sea salt and some cracked black pepper. Smells delicious. Now there are no preservatives in here, no additives. It's all good natural flavors. Okay, time to put the pressure cooker lid on. Just lock it into place. We want to bring this up to pressure now, and then we'll start to lower the heat, and we're going to give it about 10 minutes, and I think that should be just right. Okay, so what happens is when you heat up this pressure cooker, there's a little bit of steam that comes out of here, and you'll start to see those vapors of steam rising from this little outlet here. This is your release valve, this one here. And you will also notice that if you give this valve a slight turn, you can release the pressure there. You know it's on up to pressure now. You can just leave that. It's important now to turn the pressure cooker down to a medium-low heat and give it 10 minutes from when it comes up to pressure. So I'm going to turn it down. We're going to give it about 10 minutes. Now, as this pressure cooker starts to build up this pressure, you'll see a little valve here. This blue valve is gently starting to rise. And that means that the pressure is building up inside this pressure cooker. And that is the valve that shuts off, this little valve here. That little hole there. And that's your release valve for when you want to release the pressure of this. I'll show you how to do that later. There you go. You can see now that that's now coming up to the next level. It's gone from that blue little tab And you can see a little bit of white through there. Start hearing that little hissing sound. And you can see here now, it's starting to seep out of that valve there. So that means that we need to sort of decrease the heat. So I'm going to turn it down to medium-low. And you can see that valve is rising there. And that hissing sound from that valve is stopped a little bit. You can, if you want to, just give it a bit of a turn, just to let a bit of pressure out. But what you want is that nice little, soft little trickle of gentle steam. There we go there. There's the valve. Shouldn't be too much longer now. We're looking at 4 minutes into the cooking process of this beautiful sauce. Now I'm happy with that sound. It's not over hissing, which means it's not getting too hot. Now your pressure cooker might be completely different in the valve setup, but it's pretty much the same method. Okay, I have turned the heat off completely now, and you can see that there is a little bit of pressure built up in the valve here. If you just turn that slightly. Over here, the blue tab here is still lifted high, which means that it's completely pressurized inside this cooker. It's now ready to let go of that pressure. And there's a couple of ways you can do this. You can just let it cool down and then just turn this valve ever so slowly to let some of the steam out. Probably the safest way to do this, and I'm going to show you this method right now, is to take this pressure cooker very carefully over to the sink. You can release some of this pressure before you do that. So it's nice and still. If you feel confident to lift this over to an area by the sink, go ahead and do it. If you don't feel confident about making that move, then just make sure there's no gas or heat underneath this. You just let that steam come out little by little. It's nice and quiet now. I don't think there's going to be an issue me moving this now from the stove to the sink. Okay, as you can see, still a fair amount of pressure in there. If I turn this valve, I'm still getting a lot of pressure. And you can actually just open that valve completely open and let all that steam come out, but the quickest and easiest way is to just pour some cold water over the lid. You'll notice this blue valve here will collapse completely. And when you turn this valve, there's very little steam coming out. Alright. Now, it's really important that you open this valve completely, and there is no pressure in there at all. There's no steam coming out. This blue tab here has completely dropped down. It's now safe to open the pressure cooker. Check the valve again, make sure there's no pressure. Also, check that this valve here is completely dropped right down. Just click open the pressure cooker here with a bit of a turn. Hold it that way so it drips back into the sauce. And there you have it. Beautiful, rich, tomatoey sauce. Nice, soft flavors, and all that flavor is actually captured within that cooking process, within the pressure cooker itself. Let's get this into a bowl. There you go, guys. That's my lovely capsicum tomato sauce. I'm going to put some fresh parsley in here, another couple of tablespoons, And that's just going to wilt through there. Look at that. And it's going to slightly thicken up as it cools down. But you can use this for pasta. You can use it for a chicken dish. You can use it for anything you like. And the good thing about it is it's done in 10 minutes in the pressure cooker. And you know exactly what's in there. A bit of a taste test now. It's packed full of flavour, really delicious, healthy. Hope you give this recipe a try. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so already. And I will see you on my next recipe. Have yourselves a great week.